Welcome back to a very special edition of the Talos of EV podcast. Everybody, that is my best Drew impression. No, it's not. I'm just tired. If you are just watching this and not tech, I'm back. I'm shaven. If you're watching this,
you're more aerodynamic.
I am more aerodynamic, and I feel absolutely gross for it. But here's the highlight. I went in more detail on the tech because we recorded that one first. But here is the highlight of it all. I shaved my face out of an existential crisis because right when I got back from my Europe trip, I lost all my luggage, and I've been stressing ever since. So there's that. I almost had to sell my Model 3 just to make up the costs for some of that stuff. So I kind of want to just get right into this, or right back into it for all of us. But I want to get into this because it's been very interesting. I just got off of my own Twitter Spaces with Elon, and I will be converting my house to the NACS as well. Since that seems to be the trend.
I need a USB-C to NACS port.
That's right. I was so excited. I was in the air. I think I was flying to Italy on this day. So it was in the middle of my trip when I saw, it had to have been Italy because I had Wi-Fi on board. I saw the Ford CEO do his announcement about converting to the NACS. I was like, yes, baby, woo, and all that. And to my surprise, this week, GM, holy crap, I could not be more. Today, Friday, we are recording on Friday after stock hours. Tesla stock closed at over 4% high. It has been a good day for Tesla investors. It's been a good week. I don't feel so bad about losing my luggage. I think I might be able to recoup some of my costs now. But all I got to say, because all I've been saying on Twitter, avoiding all tech information until I record it, all I got to say is, Rivian, what are you doing? Let's go. Let's go. I've tweeted at Rivian or RJ every day this week.
Oh, my goodness.
Because that poor man, get used to my naked face. Though all my profile pics is me fully bearded. I did that as a goal to one day get that beard back. But listen. Let's just call it what it is, Mike. Mm-hmm. The future is now. We are getting our charging standard equalized across the board. I jokingly said to Rivian, don't make me buy a Ford. But I wouldn't be that mad. I'll be honest with you. I'm going to keep it 100. I'll keep it a buck. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be that mad. I wouldn't be that mad with the GM fleet as well. At this point, I wouldn't be mad. Unfortunately, unlike our comrade Drusiv, I do not have the means to have an Aptera in my life. Not because I don't want one. It's just not practical for my household. So I root for Aptera's success, but my eyes will be on a larger cabin of vehicle that supports NACS. So, How you feel, man? I'm jazzed.
I'm very jazzed. Over the last 2 weeks, suddenly we have gone from one vehicle brand that can charge with the North American charging standard, which I guess they invented it, to now, I believe, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 8 total vehicle
I should go
brands.
on more vacations,
Right.
Look what I miss.
Go back to Europe, or actually now go to China, because then we'll maybe get Stellantis and Hyundai, Kia, and whoever else.
Oh, that'd be nice. Toyota.
VW maybe as well. Imagine Toyota. Oh, or Subaru. Oh. that would be kind of horrifying in a way. I'm excited. I am very elated the fact that, like, no matter what car you buy, as if it's a Lincoln, Ford, Chevy, Cadillac, Buick, GMC, Aptera, or a Tesla, you can charge at a supercharging station without really many issues, besides the fact that, like, maybe your port's in the wrong position, but I guess Chevy's already one-upped it with their Silverado having the port on the back left. So
Mm-hmm.
if what I'm hoping with what Jim Farley and Mary Barra talked about on the Twitter Spaces with Elon is that if they are both committed to this basically the same deal of adapters in 2024 and then dedicated like in their own car there is the plug, it's engineered in with all the wiring, everything with it. I really hope that they consider putting the port in the best location possible, either the front right or the back left, at least the front
Agreed.
right. We don't have to deal with much headache with most of the supercharging station fleet, with the fact that like that's how it's set up ideally for most cars that have NACS right now, is that the port is on the back right, but you can still get around it with the front or no, back left. My bad, back left. You can also get around it with the front right.
Right.
But I'm really hoping that they do make that change with all vehicles, even though that current ones like the F-150 Lightning, or I guess the Rivian, who hasn't adopted NACS yet, or claimed that they'll adopt NACS, move the port over from the front left to the front right. That'd be kind of easy, right? Instead of curving to the left, it's now curving to the right. Not really too
We
much
have some
issue.
continuity with all of it, regardless of how you pull into a port or charging station to get it to juice up. With the front right, then it still comes out right there.
Yeah,
Back left,
and it's also friendly to
regardless.
trailers if it's on the front right, because then you
Absolutely.
don't have to make the whole argument slash issue of, well, most superchargers aren't set up for towing vehicles. And it's like, yeah, well, some kind of have like it set up for pull in if you're a Tesla with a port on the back left, but
They do.
at least with the now new influx of bunch of EV trucks that will potentially be charging at supercharging stations in 2 years, uh, I don't think we're going to see a very large influx of pull through chargers at the magnitude that we need by 2025. So it makes more sense, in my opinion, if you're going to re engineer a vehicle with a new port, if you're Ford or GM, put it on the front right. So at least for your trucks, it's easy to tow. So you just pull in and that's it. You just have to, everyone else has to deal with whatever you're carrying behind the truck. They have to go around it or whatever, around the aisleway. Um, but otherwise, it's not too hard on you or your engineers having to figure out where to put the port right next to the bed, right next to like your what's it called? The not the power bank, but onboard power station that you got in the bed and all that. You don't have to put a whole bunch more wire, just change the location and you should be fine. I'm excited, but at the same time, it kind of runs into the conversation that you, me, and Drew had with the Chevy Bolt, and the fact that like
Yeah.
we were worried about these things charging at supercharging stations and exploding per se, or at least
Yeah.
taking up
Yeah.
the station, which is kind of like an elitist idea of, oh no, all the Bolts are taking over the superchargers, but like it is kind of now a problem that we think about it of, even though that we're making, or we are, Tesla is producing two supercharging locations that are at minimum 8 charging stalls per location, 2 a day. um I don't think we're gonna have enough by the time 2025 comes around for, at least at the time being right now, 8 different vehicle brands charging at these spots, especially dealing with like summer months where people are traveling a bunch. I think that's my biggest
I
like worry right now is there's too many people adopting it, which is great but also bad.
I hear you. I'm not going to necessarily disagree with you. I just want to take a more optimistic approach. I want to
Okay.
be in a good mood about this. I feel 2025, though right around the corner, is still over a year. We
Mm-hmm.
still have a year and a half as of now. Think about how quickly, thank God how quickly, like, again, nothing but flowers this week to Tesla. I, I, I'm so proud of them. Think about how quickly they've turned around when they've updated the stalls already in the past to not be so like, oh, you guys are going to share, use A or B, and if you're using A and B, then your power is reduced maybe by half. Like they went around and like they've updated every stop that I've had. I don't see the old charging stations anymore. They've updated those. I feel that Tesla they have the momentum. Like it's a snowball or it's an avalanche. Either way, it's coming down quick. Actually, at this point, I'd probably say because of how long they've been around, more of an avalanche effect. That it's pulling everything with them. All these guys are going to adopt this standard. We have more than enough stations throughout the country. I mean, let me even be diplomatic about that. I'm gonna be a bureaucrat. Think about the new job opportunities you can open up in America just saying we need to hire more people to go out and convert these stalls or put in new ones.
Or just drive them out there as well. A lot more semi-truck drivers needed to get these stalls to their locations too.
You're right. I didn't even think about the semis. That's a thing now. Like, I'm still like, oh, when are we going to see semi, cyber, and roadster? I don't know.
I was just saying in general, the regular diesel semis, but yeah, it would also be nice for Tesla to convert their supercharger deployment team from diesel semis to their electric semis. But I think that might take. I don't think we'll see that until 2030s or 40s when they can fully electrify that fleet.
Yeah, I would say if not January 1, 2025. At some point in 2025, I think they'll hit their mark. And let's keep it real, Mike. Tesla's never been one to be on the nose about their dates. So if not by 2025, if it takes a little bit longer, I'd rather, like anything else, I will be consistent. I will be firm, harsh, but consistent. I'd rather take your time get it right the first time. Let's not rush it. Just be consistent. And roll it out when it's ready. The sentiment is there. Adapters are going to be going out to all these cars anyway
next
through
year.
GM and Ford next year.
With zero profit, apparently, according to Elon. He says they're not going to gain a profit off it, which I think is very admirable. But at the same time,
I appreciate
that's a lot of money being left on the table for Tesla. Not even like collecting a cent or a dollar per se, which
I have
very
a theory.
But okay.
They get their money back through the means of these guys being charged more of a premium at these charging stations.
Okay.
And if I was in his position, how can we capitalize this for long-term success in a more consistent manner? I will give you the port for free, the adapter for free, excuse me, to incentivize you to come use my port, my stations. More consistent revenue. It's another services revenue business model.
Whole nother subscription.
It's a whole nother subscription. And unless something's come out, which I haven't seen it, our non-Tesla comrades here will be charged a little bit more for their use at our stalls.
I believe they already are with the Magic Dock, but there's only like 10 of them in the United States or something like that. So there's not too many data points that we can look at too much.
So that's how they get their money back, is more or less what I'm thinking. It's not more immediate, but it's definitely more long-term sustainable. Here's your port. Sure. Come do my thing. I want to do something very advantageous this week, Mike, if you will humor me.
Okay.
Because we seem to be making progress now. For the first time, I think in Talos of EV podcast history, at least while you've been on the show, I want to try to hit every note that you've put in our notes here.
Good luck.
Hey, we're making progress, and I accept the challenge because I want this to, if anything, be a sentiment that I appreciate the notes here. I think we can do it.
Okay, so
You
I
got some
guess
cool stuff?
if we're really trying to do it, then let me put some final notes on at least this
No.
first. Oh, really?
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Oh,
I,
wait.
no. I'm
Okay.
not putting in
I
more
thought you were
notes.
gonna add.
No. I'm not. I'm adding on top of
Okay.
the conversation, but not in terms of
Okay.
my hands are off the keyboard. Uh,
All right. Go ahead.
but I did find it funny because I listened to both of these live. It was funny because the Ford one was right after me and Drew recorded the podcast last week, or no, not last week, the week before, I think. Um, and then the GM one just happened earlier this week. But the tone between the two different head, or I guess CEOs with Elon was very striking to me, where like it seemed like it was a nicer, more warm conversation between Jim and Elon versus Mary and Elon. Mary seemed very much like, "Hi, Elon. It's I guess good to be on the Twitter Spaces." Elon's like, "Great, awesome. Let announce what you want to announce." Where at least with Jim, it seemed a little bit more like, "Oh, Ford's all." We've had respect for Ford. They've been leading the automotive industry for a while. They've been around, and we want to help you guys as much as we can. Uh, Even with like your own app, right? The blue was it the
Right.
Ford Blue app. We want to help with that so that way it integrates better with superchargers. But like
Yep.
that, nothing like that with GM. I don't even know if GM has like their own app for supercharge or for I guess charging in general. But I don't think they even do. But like there's not much conversation between Mary and Elon that seemed, I don't know, maybe not welcoming, but at least like I felt more positive with Jim than it did with Mary to
Jim
me.
went on to, I think, either NBC or Fox afterwards to talk about the partnership, the
Hmm.
collaboration, and that's how I was able to do more like a deep dive analysis of what Ford was, where their headspace was, and he was very Jim was very like, yeah, I mean, these guys, they have the infrastructure. They did their thing. We appreciate, they led the charge on this. It was no longer combative. Like, we believe we can make combat. It was a very like, I don't even want to say submissive. I just want to be like, it was a very respectable yield of like, listen, let's call it what it is. Jim felt more genuine. We just want our customers to have the best experience. And he said on whichever news outlet he went on, he said a non-starter for him was that it needed to have 100% integration within that Ford Blue app. Like he's like, a conversation would not have happened if they made my customers have to go outside of the ecosystem that we have already established. We wanted to integrate it. And when Elon said he was on board with that, hey, what do you need from us? Here's what I need from you. And he said it was a very fluid back and forth about what they wanted. But Jim was adamant that Ford customers don't have to learn new software or go outside their own walled garden equivalent to
Hmm.
get the same experience or customer service or what have you. And so I was like, all right, this is very honest for like a CEO is looking out what for the best of its shareholders and its product line and the customer. It being a good CEO. I don't own any Ford anything, products or stock, but I respect it and appreciate what Ford did. The GM thing, it might be a personal bias on my end. I don't really care for, to be honest with you. I don't know why.
Hmm.
Never did. I don't know what it is. And not even I appreciate what they did with the Chevy Bolt, Volt, etc. Fine. Don't really care. I don't know why. Maybe it's just, I don't know. I don't like, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Mike. Maybe we've talked about it. I don't know, but I don't like how pretentious or smug I think they've come off in the past. And maybe unfairly, I should put some of that onto Ford as well. But the fact that Ford yielded and went on to outside of Twitter Spaces to talk about it, to do
Hmm.
press about it, made me go, okay, all right, you're giving flowers where flowers are due. I
Hmm.
appreciate the like the humility of it all. If you're just being humble about it, and hey, this is what's good for, because he's based. Jim was saying at a CEO level what the three of us have been saying all year, all last year. Like, hello, don't use that disgusting port. Use this premium cleaner. And he was talking. I was like, it's elegant, it's clean, it just works. He's like, my Jim said, and I quote, my kids asked me when we're driving, can we go use this charging station outside this nice spot as opposed to this one that's behind this restaurant or hotel, whatever, like somewhere out where no one could see. And he's like, that's that for him is like, yeah, we need to be using these.
Mm-hmm.
So at least he was honest.
Right.
That's what I guess I'm getting at. He gave an honest human experience and interaction that he had with his family, and realized that, like, oh, we're doing it wrong.
Or maybe Mary gave a little bit more of a corporate undertone / feel to her time on the Twitter Spaces per se. I don't think I've seen any interviews with her with news outlets, but I usually don't pay attention to news outlets in general. I usually get most of my stuff from Twitter, or from whatever else, Reddit or anything else like that. But fun times when both of them are practically dying at this point. But anyways, it kind of just struck me in an interesting way, like comparing the two, and I'm really looking forward to whoever steps up next, whether it's the VW executives or Kia Hyundai or Volvo. That would be nice, or anyone else step up and be like, all right, I guess we'll adopt NACS too. And then Elon's like, come on to the Twitter Spaces. Let's see what you have to say. And it'll just be nice to have that comparison. That's maybe something that a lot of you listeners or viewers can get from me, is like, I like the comparison between many things. It's fun to compare different conversations, different points, different people, different aspects, different things. My whole job is comparing things to other things as an engineer. So it's kind of
vague but specific. I compare things to other things.
Yeah, it's my job.
A lot of things, people. I want to say that now that you and I have hijacked this platform,
oh dear Lord,
and we don't have to be shamed for it anymore. I want to talk about, and I purposely am choosing this right now instead of saving it for later, because I want to talk about Volvo and not be shamed for it.
Okay. So,
all right.
Specifically, their new EX30 that they just got specs for the public.
Did you watch the video?
I did, and it was a pretty funny video. I was cracking up at like the different ways that they were making him even tinier than he was, and then because it's
big him.
Yeah, because they're playing off of the fact that this is their smallest SUV, which is hilarious because I looked up, or they gave the dimensions and specs for it, and it's 3 inches longer in length than a Chevy Bolt, but 2 inches shorter in height than a Chevy Bolt. And I don't really consider the Chevy Bolt, this is not the Chevy Bolt EUV, this is the regular Chevy Bolt from 2023. That's not an SUV. So for them to say it's an SUV and then play off on it with like all the different things that they did in the video of like just I'm totally blanking on it because it's been a while, but the fact that like it was basically a toy at one point that they cut in half and then like they dissected it in 2 different ways to show you like the battery and then
the motor.
Yeah, the motor and everything. I was just like, this is very fun marketing as like a commercial that you can reuse however times that you want with one of your guys that knows about the car. It was fun. It was a great experience.
Said.
Just time.
It was fun. That's perfectly said. I was having fun watching the video. They were not taking themselves seriously. They're just poking at it. But also it was informative. I got to see the inside of the cabin. I got to see, okay, so what does this now cheapest Volvo EV that you have, like what 35,000, right? Like that's,
I believe so.
That's competitive if that's the price.
It makes me question what they're not showing, if it does have the glass roof with that $35,000 or not, or if it does have that big screen, or it does not with the $35,000 price tag. So that's maybe where some of my skepticism is. And also, if it starts at 35,000, if you add the all-wheel drive, does it automatically, kind of like with most Legacy Auto, throw in a whole bunch of other stuff that maybe you don't want? You just wanted the all-wheel drive
Oh,
at the cheapest
you're
price you want,
right.
but it's like, no, now you have to get the big screen also with the glass roof, and you also have to get this package or whatever.
With
Um,
more speakers now you get a tow hitch. I'm like, dude, I just
right.
wanted
Just
all-wheel
want
drive.
another motor.
I just wanted one more. I just
Right.
wanted to go up this mountain more efficiently for me.
Hmm. It is
He
nutty
because
to
when he
go ahead.
go ahead. All
No,
right, yeah.
okay.
This is fun. Like, see, we're excited about it. Like we both got. I'm having fun with this. This is when he dissected it. He goes, "Do you want the best range possible? One motor. If you want the most, if you want more umph, too much. Like he was just very like gleeful about their animations in the thing in the battery. Not one size battery fits all. Like, admittedly, he wasn't saying anything new, but the presentation of it was new. I was like, oh, that's cool. Oh, that's fun. Ooh, that like it made me. I watched the video. I think I watched it on Twitter of all places,
Hmm.
surprisingly. But when on Twitter when the video ends, it just repeats. It loops right back. So I ended up watching the video twice because I was having so much fun. I was like, this is cool. All right, look at you go. Anyway, uh, what were you gonna say?
Oh, I guess I do also wonder about the range as well.
I do too.
With that 265, 275 mile range, and also what battery they're using. I'm sure it's probably going to be like a lithium iron phosphate with the size of that thing to just get on the edge of 265, 275, because it's no way, no way it's going to be an LFP in this thing for the fact of size and efficiency, because, well, we don't really have too much to gauge on for efficiency with Volvos because we've got the no, the XC40 Recharge and the C40 Recharge,
Yes.
and those aren't really known for being the most efficient per se or the biggest range. Uh, at least if they were, I would have. I'd probably be talking about it right now. But nothing in the headlines or anything that I've done my own digging of has revealed that. But I think Volvo has a really good chance with this EX30 to capture what GM has left on the table, uh, with killing the Bolt EV and EUV, and trying to recapture that with the Blazer and the Equinox. But
Yes.
people might like that shape and size factor that was the Bolt, because even though, like, you can look at it many ways with the Bolt, saying it's kind of a commercial failure per se with a lot of its pricing. It's definitely not financially good for GM to produce it at the price that they are. But
Mm-hmm.
if Volvo can do what GM can't in making this car a profitable product for them, while also making it more of, like, maybe not a cult classic, but something that people love in terms of size, but utility and just what it can offer you, I think it might be a pretty decent bang for your buck compared to I guess the Model 3, which right now is really good bang for your buck for, like, I think 27,000 or 29,000 or something like that after incentives or something like that. Insane.
27. Yeah, I think it's like 27.
Whatever. But that would mean that Volvo would have to produce the EX30 in the US and all that. Anyways, I'm excited about this product as you are. I like its design. I like the fact that they're mimicking Tesla with no heads-up display. I would like
Yeah.
for them to actually do something kind of like with what Legacy Auto does, with putting the heads-up display on the inside of the what's it called, the windshield, just so
Mm-hmm.
that way for those who like that, they have that option. But otherwise, at least for something that is aiming for very cheap, or I guess affordable, Volvo, this might be that, for what the oh goodness, not the V40, but there was a very ugly version of this, but like it was like a shorter wagon kind of sedan looking
Oh
thing.
yeah.
I'm totally forgetting the name of it, but this might be the resurrection of it with a whole new skin. Uh, kind of more in line with the EX90. Yeah.
I yes, I think for Volvo, have we talked about? I know you and I personally have talked about it. I don't know if we said on air. Have we talked about why we like Volvos so much
We
as
have.
a brand?
I
We
think it was
have.
the last
Okay.
time that we were left alone on this podcast.
See what happens? The cat's away, the mouse are out to play, type of a thing. I
Mhm.
want to just keep talking about Volvo. Um, I, in fact, let me. I see if I could just show you in live time here. I mean, nothing
Sure.
crazy.
I guess while you're
Just
trying to find that, for
I already
those
got
that,
it.
oh, never mind then. Here we go.
I'll be quick, and then tell me what you're gonna say. Before the announcement, and this is a whole different reason, and we'll have a conversation if you wish to dive on it later. But uh, I was already poking around, looking around this price range
Hmm.
for something. Okay,
Sure.
and I was like,
Right now,
huh,
Randy's
what is
showing an
it?
S60 on the video.
I am 2020 S60. Specific, if anyone cares about it was a T5. It's the most premium of the premium, and it was it's classified, I guess, as a luxury sedan. But I was shopping around. That's so I pulled that very quickly because I had the tab open still. I had been shopping around for way before I think I wanted to talk about it on the podcast. I've been looking at other vehicle alternatives for a whole different reason.
Hmm.
That, as you see, are non EV. But again, it's a whole different. Let's just say the vehicle wouldn't be for me. But the point is, um, I had Volvo on the mind hard just within the last 30 days. So then they dropped this, and I was like, the universe is talking to me. And I've been a little bit of a Volvo stan within the last week specifically, but yeah, I really wanted to talk to specifically you about this because I know Drew probably doesn't care too much about the specs because the specs are nothing to write home about, right? Like 275 miles is very standard. Like it's not the best, but it's not the worst. And I'm like, okay, the size might have something to do with the efficiency of that because it's so small. It says estimated DC fast charging, 26 and a half minutes. That's from 10 to 80%, which immediately, like, DC charging, guys, really? Like, a big step back, obviously, is going outside of the NACS here, but all things
Hmm.
considering, just appreciating that we're moving something forward. I think I'm personally more excited about this car, not because of today's specs of this particular generation of it, but what the next one will look like or the next one, and then if we could have our cake and eat it too, if not have the port on it, at least an adapter for the NACS or something. I would not be opposed to having this smallest non-sedan, right? I would not be opposed to having this in my collection of vehicles in my own fleet
Hmm.
at some point in my life. Where this would fit in my life, ideally, is it would obviously replace the Model 3, but
Hmm.
I, I'm a Tesla fanboy and owner first and foremost above anything else. I don't think right now in the next 10 years, I don't think I'll ever leave that system, that network, that ecosystem as a whole. The Model Y is the definitive, like, that is the end all be all catch all for me.
Ah,
I will let
yes.
go of the three
Good.
before. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. It happened. I've accepted where my headspace was going. So the Model Y is a particular vehicle for my family, and anything else encompassing has to be a complementary, like, addition to it, not an extension, but an addition to it. So it has to fill in the spots that the Y can't. As of right now, and with no surprise to literally anybody, I want a Rivian, and that's it. A Y and a Rivian is my ideal perfect fleet for my house.
Interesting.
Um,
It is
it
funny
would
hearing
be.
that now. especially since I think, I don't know if you listened to the podcast last week, I got to test drive one,
I
and
wanted to talk to you about it.
and
Yeah.
they feel very similar in terms of just driving feel, even though that
So am I crazy then? That's what I wanted to talk to you about. Am I wrong? Like, what am I
I
missing?
would say you're wrong at all. I would definitely recommend test driving it just so that way you get the experience of it. Maybe come on over to the West Coast because we got test drives over here in the Bay. But
I wish.
it'd be fun. What was it? I test drove I think a silver one, but everyone everyone at the dealer lot, or I guess sorry, the was it a service center? It was probably a service center with a little tiny cubby for like test drives and all that. Um,
Yeah.
but like the whole lot was just all green Rivians basically. It was all the forest green. Everyone, it seemed like everyone their mother was ordering a green
Mm,
R1S. It was they were all over
mm,
the place. So
beautiful.
you are
Tell me
not
that
the only
again,
one.
but slower.
Right.
Mm.
But in terms of driving feel, like I mentioned to Drew last week, it very much felt like you're just riding in a little bit higher Model Y with just a little bit more power. But even though, even that, my wife was like, it still felt the same in terms of acceleration with the Y. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I'm,
What does she think? What does she think about the Rivian?
she
I
thought it was
believe
meh.
it or not, she thought it was man.
She thought,
I hold the weight of what she has to say a lot to a higher standard than most people.
she is the
I
truck girl or woman,
Yep,
whatever you want to give her the
her
title.
feedback, female. Her feedback to me is probably as equal to, if not more important than maybe anybody else's feedback coming from you. I think
Wow.
she has a because you and we're pretty biased. We like what we like, and we can rationalize in our own head why we would want something and make the compromises where it be, and because her and my wife are so, you know, in lock. Um, I think I trust her as much as I would trust my wife telling me something in
Mm-hmm.
regards to the vehicle space, where it's like, what am I missing, or what is something I should be aware of, and if she's saying nah, not that it's
Yeah.
a deterrent for me, but then that means there's some credibility there. There's some weight
Yeah.
there to take into consideration.
I think something that I didn't mention last week that is definitely relevant to the conversation this week is that she still isn't convinced, in which I'd probably agree as well, that EV trucks are there. In which I think
I hear
many
you.
other people, I mean, it's hot take, right? EV trucks don't have the range that we need these days,
Yeah.
that we need for hauling or towing or just driving long distances per se. They're getting there, but they're not
Yeah.
there right now at an affordable price. And even if you had enough money saved up to get a Lightning R1T Cybertruck,
Mm-hmm.
GMC, Silverado, whatever you want. Um, Even if you got the money, they don't really have the capabilities that we're looking for right now. She was
Mm-hmm.
also somewhat whelmed with the Lightning when we drove that around it, and I think I was the only one that drove it. She didn't drive it because she just didn't feel like driving it. Um,
Sure.
I think she's basically waiting for like the 250s or the 2500s to come around where they've gotten they've benefited from all the experience that the R1Ts and Lightning owners have had to go through with all that technology. Man, I'm adding extra
Technology.
things to all these words if you listen to the tech podcast.
Yep.
Basically, they've the 250 versions is what she thinks is that they will be built on top of these failures or successes, I guess both,
Mm-hmm.
of the Lightning and the R1T and everything else in this first gen, and they'll be much better products, which I agree, kind of a no brainer.
I agree.
Um,
Right.
and
Yeah.
that's what she's really kind of waiting for, and that's what she kind of that's our active like
Okay.
discussion. I would say I wouldn't say it's an argument. It's more of a discussion of the fact that like she's pushing back on we don't need to get an EV truck right now. We don't need to sell the Ram and get a new EV truck because the Ram still works fine. It
Mm.
does everything that we need. Um, I just did a drive with it the other day towing, And basically the range that I'd get with it is like 275 miles while towing the thing that I was towing, uh, which was very surprising because I'm like, oh wow, like that's basically in the same realm as if you got a Cybertruck or a Ram 1500 EV with 500 miles of range, because those are the only two EVs that are claiming that they might have 500 miles of range. Um, that's pretty much as close as we can get, and we still don't know, of course, because neither of those vehicles are out. So
Right.
taking all of that and applying it to like the R1T, she likes the ethos and like the adventure feel of these vehicles. But when judging them based on truck capabilities and features that she wants, they're not really stacking up to the level that she's expecting.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the
Okay.
disappointment with the Rivian that she had. For me, I just had a fun time. I think at the end of the day, if I didn't mention this last week, uh, we kind of came to the conclusion that if we had to buy a Rivian today, it would have to be the R1S. Because
Interesting.
it's future
Mm.
proofing the idea that we've got dogs and we'll eventually have
Mm-hmm.
children. And you,
You're buying the R1S because you can't replace your truck right now. It's not there yet.
yeah, and
So
it won't be getting rid of the Y, it would be probably in addition to the Y, and which is kind of the hard part financially, because then it's like, how can
sure.
we justify having the Model Y, which is a 5-seater, and the Rivian?
Man, we got some rich taste buds, don't we?
Oh, it's so terrible. Every single time we go shopping, it's like, that looks like a nice refrigerator. Look at the price tag. Oh, dear
Oh
Lord, that's an
man.
$18,000 refrigerator. How's that even
Eh,
possible?
what are you made out of? Pure 24 karat gold?
Right?
Plated? My
Does this
goodness.
thing have MagSafe on it or something like that?
So, so Mike, let me ask you that. Say I heed the advice of what your wife is saying about
Hmm.
the trucks not being there power wise. Now, before I even say that, before I go forward, because I want to entertain a scenario,
Hmm.
my needs for a truck obviously aren't the same as yours guys. I don't
Sure.
got cattle to lug around. Just
Me
kidding.
and all my cows, you know. I'm all out there with
I
my piece of straw. Anyways.
Yeah, I strictly would shop for a truck on the basis of the bed space, being able to stack it however I want. Like basically something that can live outside the realm of the chassis of any sedan or SUV is the ideal thing, which within itself makes it a niche vehicle for me. It wouldn't be my daily, except because I want to be the get on up and let's go down there and show up on my four-wheeler and besides that, like, it's obviously not the intent of being the daily vehicle, but so many people obviously use trucks as their daily driver. It's an all-in-one
Oh,
for
it's
them.
everywhere, even in the bay.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, we are Americans, damn it, and that's what we do. If one thing I've learned about being in Europe, I'm not losing my place. I know where I'm at, but I have to tell you something that is car related. The amount of hatchbacks that I have seen in my life in Italy,
Hmm.
I saw a good amount, like a very strong, more than 50% in Germany and Switzerland as well, but in Italy,
Hmm.
I did not see a single, like, sedan, like with a trunk, like all hatchbacks. Cars are small, the roads are tiny, and because of that, all I saw were Model Ys. I went to a Tesla, not service center, a store,
Showroom.
a showroom, and I documented. But I wanted to because I saw the silver. I was like, "Oh, this is cool." And then I was like, I went around the S, the Y, and the 3. Where were you made? Where were you made? Where were you made? Fremont, Berlin, and the Model 3 was made in China.
Wow.
I saw my first China-made Model 3.
Hmm.
It was kind of cool. Yeah.
I think it's got the best quality control out there. in terms of Model 3.
It was just kind of cool. I documented the VIN because my wife's like, "What? How do you know?" I'm like, "Right here. Go to the start from here. Work your way backwards. Boom, Fremont. Boom, Berlin. Boom, Jida." So it was cool. But it was so interesting to see all these hatchbacks, man. Like I could not survive on the roads of Italy. That's what I know for sure.
Really?
Could not do it. Impossible.
That crazy.
Yeah, people. Europe is a very slow-paced like region as a whole. I would say, in comparative to how we have that hustle and bustle culture in America, but now when it comes to driving, those guys are like aggressive, and I'm like, with the roads are so windy and small, and I genuinely do not know how FSD could survive out there. I'm so genuine. I couldn't try. I don't know. All right. I just wanted to say that. Let me back up two more steps.
Hold on. I guess one more thing as well.
Go ahead.
While you're in Europe,
Sure.
I think you did see the Silver Bullet on 4 wheels driving around, being the Quicksilver Model Y, right?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
So jealous.
It was so cool, man. I think the showroom was also, because it was a performance. It was yes. Yes, no. It was. Yeah. I'm putting in. I saw you put a note. I'm putting in for the B-roll here. Absolutely. Yeah, man. It was cool. I was like, ooh. And I'm putting my finger across it. I'm like, why are you not in the States, man? You gotta be in the States.
It was for the shareholder meeting, and then that was it. I don't know why they brought him as well, but whatever. Anyways.
Just to rub it in our faces.
Yeah. So stepping back to the R1T, it sounds like you have a different use case in which then
I have a different use case.
Changes the whole equation.
That is compared to like what your household needs. So I just wanted to preface that. Now let me take a step back again to my initial. Let me propose this thing to you, assuming everything that your wife is saying is true. Would I be better off having a Model Y and having the Volvo EX30 instead? You would think for offering different utility purposes, more or less. And I say utility very loosely because in price range, this would be the cheapest EV that I've ever bought. It does replace the Model 3 in the sense that it's a Model 3 is smaller. It's cheaper. So I'm buying something newer that, as years go on, costs drop. But it's just my get around town car. I can't, I love the Model Y so much, I can't find a way to replace it in the sense that, it goes, if I want to take it to the mountains, I'm going to the mountains with that thing. If I want to go to church or a restaurant, whatever,
McDonald's.
I'm taking McDonald's and going to
get a decent priced meal here in the States versus Switzerland.
I didn't say that on this podcast. I didn't say that on this. So the joke here, you guys got to go watch the tech podcast if you didn't. The joke here is that, I spent an ungodly amount of money, not because I ate a lot of McDonald's, but because one McDonald's meal cost like $14 in Swiss francs for something that would cost under $8 or under $7 here. And that was my life at one point. I was like, oh, this is crazy. I will say, though, here's what I didn't say on the tech one, though. Swiss chocolate is a thing. And my God, sponsored by... No, not sponsored.
Nope, not
this
sponsored.
Stuff, not sponsored, but this I can't... Yeah, no, you would think, but it's something else.
Ovomaltine. So it's like Maltesers so mixed with Ovaltine. So it's Ovomaltine. Yeah.
Dude,
interesting.
This is my favorite chocolate. And I looked on Amazon. You could buy it. So...
That's dangerous.
It comes as a spread, so every day I've had toast with this as a spread. It comes as a cracker. Bro, never again will I touch it. On God, rip Nutella. No way. I was a stand for Nutella. I like, yeah, let me get the croissant with Nutella in it. No, let me get the croissant with this in it. This ovomaltine thing. It is so good. It comes in as a milk or a milkshake or something, as the powder if you want. It's everything.
They put
And the
this in
Swiss,
everything. They put it in the iPads. They put it in the
it's
Rivians.
it's in their bank accounts. It's Swiss. It's in their pocket knives. The Swiss got their chocolate right. And my favorite cheese is Swiss cheese, but that's a that's a whole nother anyway.
So basically, what you're trying to say is, because we keep on deviating from it, you can
I'm
envision
having so
your
much fun.
household being EX30 and Performance Model Y, or R1T and Performance Model Y.
Yes. What is the path that you think I fit best in? I am not shy to say that I am a Volvo fanboy, and the fact that it's getting some TLC for something that's really affordable that I'm about,
Sure.
cool. And as it stands today, both Volvo and Rivian don't use the NACS. So if I want to have any type of day-to-day whatever, I use charging at home, or there's an adapter or what have, like there's workarounds for it, but like it can't be my primary vehicle. Deal
Sure.
breaker will always have to be the supercharging stations, like that's the
Right.
deal breaker for
Well, I
me.
mean, you can still use
Nothing.
like the Magic Docks or Magic Dock ones, which I guess
Ah,
are a decently far distance from you currently, but they could. So that is a funny, what's it called? It's a funny point to bring up then, because like you said, both of them haven't publicly announced that they'll adopt NACS. Will that mean then, with this whole conversation that we've had, whichever one adopts NACS first, you might just be swayed to go that direction that much more?
maybe.
Ooh.
If that's the case, I think Rivian obviously is going to take the lead. Then, isn't it? They have
Well,
more to gain.
maybe, but you've got Volvo and Polestar both dipping into the EV race, and they're pretty smart companies in my opinion. I would think that they would try to jump on this as soon as they can.
Whichever EV adopts the next gen CarPlay, will have my. No, I say that
Well,
facetiously.
then the
I'm
answer is
joking.
Volvo, right? Because Rivian won't. Rivian's out and said, we're not doing CarPlay.
Volvo, I swear, has some type of partnership with Google. I'm looking at it right now with their Google built-in. They've done that for
On the
years now. Like
EX30, it's also built in, yeah.
I'm looking at it right now. I'm watching the
Yeah.
slide of it on the website. Like they love their Google, and I'm like, man, I think it's CarPlay compatible though, right? Because that will be
I would think so.
not like it's a deal breaker, because I'm using technically a Google service with the Tesla for its map, right?
Mhm.
So it's like when I say CarPlay or next gen CarPlay, like I like Apple Maps UI, and that's what I really look for. I don't really care about the integration of really anything when it comes to Google or Apple, because everything's pretty much Bluetooth when it comes to playing music or audio. So I really just care about the navigation system, and I feel more appropriate using the Apple Maps. But like I told you and Drew before, oh, you sent me a thing here. Hang on. Oh,
They're on the CarPlay list from
oh,
Apple, so
how
they're
about
there.
that?
So it sounds like the dial's moving a little bit more towards EX30, just because it's the Volvo, but it's also got, or it's probably gonna have CarPlay 2.0 integrated in it. And it's also a nice, simple experience and interior, while also being at an affordable price. While the Rivian is kind of just like the very expensive but very cool toy truck that you can do whatever you want, but
Yeah.
you're probably not going to be taking it out on the trails
Well
for
said again.
like
It
most years.
Pricing is probably one of the most important things for me, to be honest, because what
Right.
I haven't said out loud, and I'm definitely not putting it in my tweets to RJ, is that I would not be buying a Rivian new. I would buy a used Rivian,
Hmm.
even even if they did adopt NACS. I don't want to spend. that type of money again.
What about like
I
an R2T then? I mean, we've only seen like the silhouette or covered clay model of the R2, which looks to be like the R2S. What about like an R2T that's basically an even smaller R1T, basically Maverick size, uh, Ford Maverick
I don't hate
size.
Maverick size. Yeah, yeah. I don't hate
Mavericks are
that
cool,
size. Yeah, I don't hate it.
but like you're sacrificing a whole bunch of stuff probably. Like maybe you don't get the heads-up display, or was it the
The
basically the
kitchen.
display. Stop it. That's the one thing that's stopping me. Like that would probably be the one. I even said that I think on the way home after test driving the R1T. I'm like, I think the kitchen's the only thing that's stopping it for me right now because they're not producing it, and I love the idea of just pulling out the kitchen from the side of the truck, and there we go. Like,
There you go.
my goodness. But yeah, I think maybe
I
you could probably justify an R2T if it exists. If it's also at a price bracket that yeah is probably a whole lot more than the EX30, but it's still a Rivian, still has that blood of adventure in it, and has all the fun stuff while still being a small. It would definitely just be Model Y, but with a bed.
I mean that's basically what we wanted anyway. It's not that we compromised on getting the Y. It's just there's no Cybertruck, and so the
Mm-hmm.
Y is what fits our life today. Where
Sure.
what we needed in 2019 was a truck, and we definitely didn't have a kid. Kids weren't nowhere near the conversation on the table of planning or nothing like that. So,
Mm-hmm.
things change. But even if the R2T, like regardless for the Rivian, I just don't see myself buying new. Period. Actually, I don't know if I would want to buy any EV new.
Mm-hmm.
The Volvo was cheap enough that well, that is a little bit different. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
in my price range. That's something I could afford, especially if I sell the three. Oh, come on, yeah, yeah. I would just pay it off immediately. Right, boom, done. The
Right.
idea, my what hasn't changed is that I don't want to lease nor loan a vehicle. I'd rather pay it out outright if possible.
Amen.
Um, that's oh man, the headache of that would just be gone. So the Model 3 selling, this is all contingent that I sell the Model 3. um what replaces the Model 3 has to be something that is better than the Model 3. So how do we define better?
Mm-hmm.
I was pulled a Jordan Peterson about, well, what do you mean by better? You have to define. Well, wait a minute. No, when you're looking at them, I'm about to get so nuanced on because language is a very important thing. But
Oh,
uh,
hold on.
no, hold on. Ha, gotcha. Jesus. Okay. So, well, what do you mean by better? Define better, because if you're talking about,
Okay, you're slowly becoming Kermit the Frog.
it's because I can't calibrate my voice with these headphones. I
Kermit the
can't hear
Frog
me.
here.
Hi, Piggy.
The R2T is a pretty great vehicle. It matches my skin.
Well, what do you mean by better? No, hold on a second. We gotta look at this. Is better
There we go.
supposed to be range, price? What do you mean by that? I by replacing the Model 3, one, we get rid of FSD because that was a cluster. I'm done with that. Anything that doesn't have FSD is immediately an improvement, the way I see it.
I'll tell you about that actually, where me, Drew, and Louise got to take an
Yeah.
FSD trip to San Francisco International, and man, that was fun. Um,
Why don't I believe you?
why I wish I took a video. I wish I had someone take a video in that car. Um, it was Mr. Toad's Wild Ride in a good way.
Okay. All
But
right.
anyways, we'll let you finish your idea because we keep on tangents
Yeah.
left and right.
So what's better than the Model 3, replacing the 2019 Model 3?
Hmm.
Price,
Hmm.
range, efficiency, and cabin space for more better, but like internals, like the everything, more or less everything as the pilot of this vehicle in the cabin. Uh, Quality of life improvements on that
Sure.
are my four pillars there. Price, yes, better than the Model 3 when we're talking about with the Volvo. Range, heck no,
No.
because it's
Full.
uh, well.
Once
So
that.
are we doing a one for one? Because I got the dual motor long range.
Yeah. So I guess right now, like the Model 3 is probably hitting maybe 300 miles of range right now. 350.
Nah, I'd say it's
350.
closer to the 275 to be honest. Yeah,
Oh,
I'd
interesting.
say it's
Okay.
275.
I'm also probably
Yeah,
around there with my Model Y on a daily basis. My 20 to 90 or whatever range that I'm going
right.
at, it's probably around 250, 270. So yeah, no, I get that. But
So range, no, not on paper, but
no,
in day to day use, it's probably now on par with it. But
sure.
still, this is we're talking rear wheel drive. This is a one motor as opposed to the two. So I have to see what that looks like. I can't. Can I reserve? Can I spec it right now to see? It depends. If I would do a side by side with the dual motor and see what that
I
looks
guess
like,
also, do
but
you need it, right? Because is there a I guess it depends on what environment you're driving in, right? If you're driving it like in
sure.
California, you don't really need the dual motor at all, unless you're driving up to Tahoe every single weekend during the winter.
What if I was
Then,
driving somewhere and say, oh, I don't know, Colorado?
oh, the place that we talked about multiple times. Yeah, you could. I mean, again, what many
No,
people
it's a
say
fair
is,
question. Do I need it? Yeah, I
yeah,
hear you. You're right, though.
I guess the antithesis of that, right, is like if you're worried about environmental factors, chains exist
True.
and or winter
Yeah,
tires, right?
yeah.
So even if you have a rear-wheel drive car, there's already solutions that also cost probably less than
Way
upgrading
less.
to a second motor.
Fair. Okay. I will give you that. Say rear wheel then for price. So price, yes, beats the three. Range, compare. It might be on par with where I'm at right now. Uh, what was the third one I said? Oh, efficiency.
Mhm.
Um, no,
No.
you can't beat the supercharger. Like that's a hard no. And anything that can equal or beat what I kind of work with right now might be like a what do you call it? A wild card or no, what's it, the trump card, no, the insta win card, whatever. Like
Mhm.
this is the one where it's like that might, all bets are off with something that's more efficient. But it can't be an Aptera. It can't. I need to have more seats than that. So efficiency, it's a hard no. It fails. Cabin space, maybe. Like as the operator of a pilot, I don't know. You know what I think about sometimes, and I know Drew jokes about. Well, no, I know Drew's very serious about this, but we joke about like, oh, I'm gonna buy ventilated seats would be nice. That's cool if I don't have to pay $100,000 plus.
Right. And which
That'd be
most
nice.
legacy auto companies do offer that. And I'm not too sure if that is a feature in the EX30. I'd have to look into it more. But if validated seats are in there, which we know, I think they're in the Rivian. But if they're in the EX30, it's kind of a done
I
deal at
didn't
that
know it
point,
was in
right?
the Rivian.
I think it is, right? Am I imagining things? Rivian
Okay,
ventilated
listen.
seats. I
If
want to say that
ventilated
there.
seats are in the EX30, it might be a done deal. I'll be honest with you. On price alone, it might be a done deal.
Yeah, it comes standard with heated and ventilated seats as of January
Woo!
26th for the Rivian. For
Woo!
the Rivian.
Woo,
For the
Mike!
X30, I
I know. No, I know. I know we're talking about the Rivian. That's one of the
most
reasons why I
recent.
like the Rivian so much. But it's not just about the ventilated seats. It's just like comfortability overall,
Right.
navigating of the steering wheel,
Summers
of the
can get
of
hot.
the display, and winters will get cold, and water is wet.
Whoa.
So
No, 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 no. That's a little too controversial.
I like having a comfortable cabin space, not just for me, but then for any passengers that I have. And right now, the one to beat is the Model Y. But we know what the EX30 is. We know what the Rivian is. Rivian might, especially if Carrie's saying that's really not that much different from the Model Y, then that's maybe a good thing. I
Right.
don't hate the Y. So, Yeah, that's my. I knew you were gonna pick that color.
I just went on the Volvo configuration page for the EX30, and it comes in moss yellow, and I'm a sucker for yellow.
I knew you were gonna pick that color. I knew
I
it.
mean,
I knew it.
I'm not like Nikias in terms of everything needs to be yellow. I didn't get the yellow
No, no, no,
iMac.
no.
I
But
didn't
if it's
get
not that
yellow.
mustard color, I was like, that's. I was looking at the different colors between what was it cloud blue, vapor gray, onyx
Right.
black is kind of dope. But moss yellow, I was like, when I saw moss yellow, I was like, oh, that's Mike.
I love my theory with like cars is like you're only going to own this car probably once, right? You're only going to own this Model Y probably once, this Ram 1500 probably once, this Model 3 probably once. Go wild with the color, like go something interesting. I mean, yeah, it's going to get you more noticed on the road by cops or other things, but like man,
Who
the
cares?
idea that like you can look out in a sea of cars at Costco or whatever, and it's like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, there's my car. It's like the big sore thumb out
Hey
there.
man, you preaching to the choir. I had so much fun doing what I did to the Model 3 that I would just do it again. Yeah.
Oh,
No, you're
Marcel is
right.
great.
You're only gonna own it once.
I
That's
kind
a
of want this
juice.
car now. I
You're only gonna own it once, Mike.
don't think my wife would allow me to get in moss yellow. She won't even allow me. Multiple times that we've talked about the R1T and the R1S, she's like, nope, no compass yellow. Nope, it's either the Rivian blue or maybe the Red Canyon or probably the one that looks most like our midnight silver metallic color that Rivian offers. Like one of those.
Yeah.
I think that's El Capitan. Um, that's as far as she'll go. She's not gonna dip into yellow, unfortunately.
I not that I agree with her, but I think I kind of agree. Like the thing is, like I looked at that color, I was like, that's Mike's color. So I want to enable you to be the best you can be and be like, that's your color, but I'm kind of with her on this. Hey, did you look at the range for the all-wheel drive variant of the Volvo? It's only 10 miles less.
Which is kind of insane.
Do I call BS? Do I say
We'll only
nope?
know when the EPA tests it, but
I guess.
what I think what I love about Legacy Auto coming out with these EVs is like they offer options which we don't really see too much with startups. Like we don't
True.
see I mean Rivian's probably the exception with all their other options, but they're
Also
somehow
true.
surviving. But like us living with Teslas, like black or white interior. Oh,
Right.
okay. Or unless you get cream with the Model S and X, but like still black or white interior, and then it's like, all right, exterior, black, white, gray, blue, or red. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those are your options.
I would like to have some rainbow sherbet, please.
You want that yellow.
I want the yellow or orange. I don't care. Give me a wild
What
color out of the
what
blue.
that is a use sentiment. I do believe that about you. What color do you think I would pick out of the EX30?
Ooh, okay. So we got, like you said, the Vapor Gray, which is clean. Onyx Black is very striking, and like they got two different images right here, which maybe we'll put in post. But Onyx Black is very sharp. Moss Yellow is very quirky. Crystal White is looks great with the Thor lights, and they call them Thor lights. Or the Cloud Blue. Tough to say for you, I would say. I would say the past informs me that you'd go for Onyx Black so that way you can rock out with the beautiful limousine black color. And if you want to wrap it, you can, and it'll still look pretty clean. But also, part of me thinks, even though that you got the Midnight Silver Metallic with the Y, I think the white, or the crystal white on this thing is pretty damn good. Am I wrong that you're probably going with either Onyx Black or Crystal White?
You are 50% wrong.
Oh, so it's one of those then.
No.
It's
Uh
none of those. So
you're
it's the gray
you're
then.
you're you're your round no, my sentence will make sense in a second. Onyx Black without any chrome. Oh,
Oh,
chef's
yeah.
kiss. I'm not picking that one though,
Okay.
because let me just say what you just said. If you're only gonna own the car once, why not go all out
Oh, don't
and
tell
do
me you're
something
going
crazy?
for the moss yellow.
I'm not going for the moss yellow. I'm saying that with the Onyx Black, that is a very. If it was not a $35,000 car, I probably would. If it was more, I probably would do the Onyx Black, to be honest with you. The other Volvo ones, no question, we already know, I would pick the Sage Green. That one's clean. There's
Hmm.
the Sage Green option for all the other EVs with Volvo. This one doesn't have it, um, which is sad. I would go all out and I would get the one that kind of stands out and get Cloud Blue.
Going the what's it called? Not the baby blue. What was Apple
Sky Blue.
colors? It's
Oh, baby blue. Wait,
is it baby blue?
blue?
No, they call it. What was the 13 colors? They were blue, or is it the 12?
Oh, Sierra Blue? No.
It could be Sierra blue. I did find your interior with your cloud blue. They have a Scandinavian forest green, or I guess
Wait.
it's a pine. They have a pine green interior with this thing,
Huh.
but you can match it with indigo, which is also blue. Anyways, this has become the podcast of specking out our EX30s.
How? Why would they give that color but not with the green?
I
The
don't
sage
know
green
either.
for.
I don't know.
But okay, so you're 50% right because if I was to chicken out on the back end and not want to commit to such a standout color, Onyx Black is just way too. That looks good.
Right.
And I'm actually not. I'm not a black car kind of guy. Even though before the Model 3, I had a black Volkswagen Jetta. I only did them because those were the ones on the lot, and they were the free one. I wanted the midnight silver metallic from the very beginning, and I just
Hmm.
couldn't. I was like, I'll just do the free one. I'm already buying FSD. So I would have most likely thought about Vapor Gray first, but it's because if Vapor Gray looks like the gunmetal that we see like on the Tacomas, on the
The
Honda
Rams.
Civics, then I would probably go with that one first. But now it feels like it's overdone.
Oh, I
So
know what you're talking about. Yeah, 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 yeah. We love that guy. Was it? It was on
like gunmetal gray or something.
yeah, the Tacoma and the Maverick have that
The
beautiful.
Maverick has it. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. That pearl, but some people call it gunmetal. But either way, that texture, like I like that color. I
Hmm.
really like that color a lot. If that's what this Vapor Gray is, then I probably would do Vapor Gray.
Right.
But I also feel like it's a bit played out. The coolness of the Onyx Black is dope because the Volvo logo on the where the grill would be really just pops, and I'm like that's kind of cool.
Hmm.
But I would be daring. I'd get Cloud Blue because you're only going to own the car once probably, and
Right.
be something weird with it. But you're right. This has turned into the Volvo. I'm doing this strictly to spite Drew because we never talk about it and we'll never talk about it again.
To answer,
um,
I've dug into the site way too much, and I found that they only have heated seats. So there's your
dang,
there's your sacrifice.
dang.
Is that the beautiful $35,000 car does not have cooled seats,
Well, it's nice. It's
but it
not a
has four
hundred
USB
thousand
C
dollars.
ports, so it gets the check off for using the right ports everywhere.
I guess so.
Uh,
Um,
I will say I don't think we have time to get through the rest of the items, and also a lot of them are legacy items that I forgot to delete. But I think we got through a lot of great options, or not options, a lot of great topics this week. So happy to have you back, Randy. Uh,
thank you.
Especially talking about Volvo because I love talking about Volvo and all their different options and beautiful design choices that they make. But
Yeah.
man, it is a exciting time for EVs right now with everyone adopting NACS and doing their own thing with their designs and choices with how they want to engineer their cars and whatever else. But I think I'm more excited to see where this conversation goes in the future with the EX30 versus the R1T.
This will be something we will have to continue on later. I let me just say, I get where your wife's coming from with what is needed for your household. And it saddens me because I don't see it coming soon for the
Hmm.
EV field because it's not its time. We're still in that sense we're early adopters in that sense, I guess. I want to share EV truck goodiness with you guys, but much like how we had to let go of the Cybertruck for our end here, um, the realistic like outcome I see is that it would be a used R1T as
Hmm.
the next vehicle if we did go that route. Maybe because it's just ventilated seats that got me sold. I don't know. Um, but like there is no the perfect truck or the perfect vehicle. No, as I say truck, the perfect vehicle would be one that has the ventilated seats, maybe Apple CarPlay if I choose to wish it to have it. But I don't mind, first party UI. Tesla spoiled me with that, but I got at the end of the day, like we gotta have NACS as the standard for everything. I can't take any next vehicle too seriously until I know that they're taking their charging capabilities seriously. The Chevy Bolt situation with the 50 kilowatt, like I just
Something
because
low.
they can use our stations doesn't mean they should, because it's kind of disrespectful. Go charge at home, you'll be done in 10 minutes anyway, whatever.
You'll
But
get done at the same time.
um you'll get done around the same time. I'm excited to see who's next in line about announcing.
We could be talking next
uh
week about VW, Hyundai, Kia,
I would love that.
Stellantis. Who knows?
Ri- Dude, if I'm telling you right now, if Rivian says they're doing it, I, I I don't know if I could do an episode that week because I'm going to say things I might not mean, or you guys are going to watch me do something very reckless in live time.
We'll wait for the was it the Mac OS uh what, not Ventura, Sonoma come out.
Sonoma.
So then that way we can do the whole presentation of like you in a bubble, me off to the side, and then you have the website up of Rivian and you pre-ordering a R1T or ordering one that's ready to get picked up.
Oh my goodness, you're going to watch me spend
The
$75,000 in
most
lifetime.
expensive podcast episode yet.
I'll go against everything I've said. I don't need to buy another house. I don't need a da 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 da. I would have to sell a lot of stock, and I don't want to do
Right,
that.
right.
But we'll
Well,
see.
on that
It's been a
bombshell,
fun week.
it's been a
Yeah,
fun week.
it's been a fun week. It's good being back. We'll see who falls next in line, and we'll talk about it. And next week, this is my goal from now on. I think for EV, I'm gonna try to hit all your check marks. It's make that a goal.
I'm going to make them exponentially long then.
No, don't you
Alrighty.
dare. All
Have a good
right.
week,
See
y'all.
you guys next week. Bye.